So today, I'm trying to figure out if you've already bought the RX 100 Mark 7 or you're thinking about the RX 100 Mark 7, is it the only camera that you technically need? Now, I'm not going to pretend like there are no drawbacks to owning the RX 100 Mark 7 because clearly there are. For instance, one, it's the battery life. It's not bad, but it's not very good either. You definitely need multiple batteries if you want to operate the RX 100 Mark 7 all day. I would say you would need a minimum, again, a minimum of 3 batteries. Right now I have 2, and I am, today I think I might go buy a third battery. But yeah, you need at least 3 batteries. Now the second thing is the price. I really wish it was priced around $900. $1,200 for a point and shoot. I know many people have said it already. It's just a lot of money. But like, for once, I can kind of understand with this particular RX 100 Mark 7 because I've never wanted an RX 100 Mark 7. I've always gone to the G7X Mark II because it was a better bang for your buck at $750 and now $650. And I still think that's a better buy than the G7X Mark III right now because the autofocus is better in the G7X Mark II versus the G7X Mark III. Now, the only other gripe I have is the fact that Sony, you should have given us another battery. So it should have come with 2 batteries and an external charger. Now, you only get a micro USB charger. And to me, that's a little unfortunate. I'm paying $1,200 for a point and shoot camera. Again, it's a fantastic camera, but for $1,200, I should at least be getting 2 batteries and a charger, period. Now, what makes me consider this probably one of the only cameras that you could potentially only need? Well, it's the features. And on paper, they are fantastic. Think about it. We finally have a microphone jack, which we've all been wanting with a point and shoot camera for so long. You have all of Sony's picture profiles on a freaking point and shoot camera. So like, long term, you could learn to color grade on this thing. So right now I am on picture profile 10, which is HLG2, and I switched over to 709 but because I've heard that was better in a way. I actually know nothing about color grading. That's why I am shooting in HLG2 right now, so I can learn. See, that's the great thing about this point and shoot camera. For an all-in price of $1,200, you have a great camera that you could technically learn everything you need when it comes to filmmaking, videography, in an all-in price of $1,200. Like, that's really cool. Unlike the A6400 and maybe the A7 III that I would say are close to being affordable, like it's $900 just for the body for the A6400. And like for some people that might not be affordable because you have to buy a lens. Now, of course you can buy a kit lens, but you have to really think about it. For $1,200, I am getting an outstanding lens on this camera, a Zeiss. This is a Zeiss lens that you're looking at. Now, for $900 to $1,200 for the A6400, you're getting a kit lens. And you're not getting any in-body stabilization. It's all optical stabilization, which again, Sony is not really known for stabilization anyway, but your RX 100 Mark 7 has a really great stabilization because it's digital. And I wish they would have put that in the A6400. If anything, put the digital stabilization in there. It's a firmware update, and I really think you could do that. But, okay, so you have the picture profiles, you have all of Sony's pictures profiles, you have the microphone jack, you have arguably the best autofocus in the game right now. And I know that's gonna be highly debatable between Canon dual pixel and Sony's phase detection. Given that you have so many features in this particular camera, you realistically could grow with this camera. And that's kind of what I want to set out to do today, is to figure out, if I only had $1,200, could I live with the RX 100 Mark 7 long-term for multiple years and not technically need another camera because you have all of the features that you need? So yeah, I'm just gonna finish this coffee and then I'm gonna head out and figure out if I'm gonna go buy a new battery or something like that. I think I'm gonna take the boosted rev because the stealth, I need to change the belts. Now, I think the most underrated feature on this particular camera is the 24-200 zoom on this particular camera here. In my opinion, it's fantastic. I can virtually put this camera anywhere, being that it's so small, and get any shot that I want because I have such a wide focal length. Like, I know a lot of people complain about that, but for me, I find it very, very cool and interesting and a lot more helpful besides just having a wide angle lens all the time. Now, I've been able to get a lot of B-roll, basically establishing shots with this camera without even needing a gorilla pod or anything, which again makes it fantastic for doing anything like B-roll or stuff like that. No one seems to have a problem with me bringing my boosted rev in for all you guys that are scared to take your revs in to charge in a Starbucks or something. So I've had this camera for about almost 4 weeks now. Maybe three and a half weeks, 4 weeks. However long it's been out, I think I've had it maybe a few days after it came out. I have to say this is a fantastic camera, guys. I love it. I really love how small it is. I love the fact, like just combining the 24-200 focal length with how small this camera is, with the amazing eye autofocus and just the focus period. This is a fantastic B camera for sure. I am able to put this camera in places that I would have never imagined, like outside of the house, as far as like putting it on flat surfaces, putting it in nooks and crannies where you can get very interesting B-roll shots, like establishing shots and things like that. I think this is a fantastic camera. And the fact that I can potentially start to color grade with this camera and learn how to do that, again, for something as small as this, it's simply amazing. I mean, it's kind of competing with the Canon EOS R for me. I love the Canon EOS R, and of course I have the A7 III, but as soon as I got the Canon EOS R in my hands, it quickly became my favorite camera. And it's not anything against the A7 III, it's just the fact that the Canon EOS R has a flip out screen, and to me that's kind of important. Now overall, I seriously think that the RX100 Mark VII is a fantastic camera. I do feel like you could keep this long term because the autofocus is fantastic. You are getting so many pro level features into a really small camera. Now, obviously this is not a pro level camera because it's a point and shoot. The sensor, in my opinion, is not big enough to be considered a pro level camera. I think you would have to start with the APS-C or get you an entry level A7 III to consider it a pro kind of level camera. But for YouTube, this camera is fantastic, and I obviously think that's what this camera is meant for, is to give you a fantastic image, because obviously it has 4K, it has unlimited recording. If you increase the temperature sensitivity to high, you virtually have unlimited recording limit, and the only downside is the battery. So guys, I'm gonna keep this as a B-roll camera and primarily use this outside as my A camera when I am out and about. I don't know if I'm gonna take the Canon EOS R outside of the house. I think I'm gonna keep the A7 III and the EOS R for talking head videos. Now, obviously, I do think the RX100 Mark VII can do talking head videos, but again, I think this will be the type of camera for me personally, being that I have access to the EOS R and the A7 III. This would be like just a different angle, like a third angle for me. Or I'm thinking about doing, when I do product reviews, maybe an overhead shot. This camera would be fantastic. Again, because of that amazing autofocus. You do have the microphone jack, so again, it could be your A camera. It will be my A camera outside of the house. So would I recommend this camera? It's tough, because when you look at the specs, when you look at everything this camera can do, I would say yes. But then you look at that price tag and I'm just like, oh, wow, that's very expensive. So I would say yes, if you can afford it, it's worth it. If you can't afford it, I don't know, I would say save your money and get a full frame camera. But at the same time, this is a fantastic camera to start with. So I'm kind of up in the air, and it has nothing to do with the specs. It has everything to do with the price, because again, this is a fantastic camera, the best in the market for point and shoots, period. But it's just the price. Now, if you're only gonna be doing YouTube and you have no inspiration to do anything professionally as far as doing real estate videos or doing weddings and things like that, I would say, hey, A7 III might be overkill for YouTube, and the RX 100 Mark VII is perfect because, again, you have access to everything the A7 III, A6400 has, if not a little more. So I hope that's not confusing. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm really excited about this camera. I think it done pretty well.